What's up, YouTube? Mike here, bringing you Coinpocalypse, my take on how EA can end coin selling across all games once and for all. This is a video that I have been wanting to make for a while, but had always been a little bit hesitant because I know I'm sure a ton of hate is going to come in for this one, guys. But EA, in a way, kind of did me a solid because one of the biggest problems with my whole video is that there are some unintended consequences. Specifically, it not only would stop coin selling, but it would stop a couple of other things. So let me hit those and address those really quick. One thing that this plan would also mean the death of is Muthead credits, which have been used to, essentially buy coins, for lack of a better way of putting it. Only it's not actually buying them, it's kind of obtaining them with this, virtual currency over on Muthead. The other thing that it would harm is convenience transfers. That's where if you had, one account that you wanted to if you had multiple accounts, you could transfer coins from one account to the other if they're on the same auction house on your own or, with a friend or something like that if you're on multiple auction houses. And the other thing would be price gougers that just list their prices like way beyond what something should sell for and sometimes get lucky enough to buy them. So with EA's Bangate last week, and especially following the Muthead forums, there is a lot of speculation on what this means for Muthead credits. And some people at EA maybe say that it's not allowed. I don't know. It's up in the air. I have no idea. All I know is I personally am not using Muthead credits right now until I get something clear and fast from EA that it is allowed. I'm not touching this stuff. But here's what my plan boils down to. We've seen EA do a whole bunch of things to try and stop this. Their Bangate, which quite frankly did not really work. There's still a ton of known coin buyers out there that are still buying coins. People are still advertising coins. Coin selling is not gone. There's a lot of people who were banned, some who did buy coins, some who potentially didn't buy coins. But let's just look at the auction house. The reason I have this pulled up is, as you can see, guys, look, we've got some 80 overalls posted for the 2 mil cap with specific bids. Those are basically coin transactions, guys, or transfers. They're one of the transactions that EA doesn't want to happen. And here we are, post-Bangate, still happening. And there is really nothing EA can do to stop this within the lines that they have been going about. So here's what I want to do. I want to give you guys an outside-of-the-box solution for how we can end this. So this is going to go, hopefully an EA executive will watch this and catch on. If not, hey, whatever. At least you guys have this, this crazy idea on how I can shut down coin selling. So here's how it would work, guys. In order for any transaction to occur, you need two things. You need a willing seller and a willing buyer. That's for anything, not just in the game. For any sort of transaction to occur, you need a willing seller and a willing buyer. There's nothing we can do to get rid of willing sellers. These sites do not care that they're risking banning players. They do not care that it's against the terms of service. They are trying to make money. They will always, if able to, sell coins for money. There's nothing you can do to get rid of willing sellers. My solution is to get rid of willing buyers. So a lot of people say, Mike, EA's prices are ridiculous. It would take so much money. Only the whales can get, great accounts buying Madden Cash. And to some degree, you're right. I mean, I think EA really needs to add some value and broaden the base, because I think the fact that coin sellers are as popular and is making as much money as they are shows that people are willing to spend money on the game. They're just not willing to spend as much money for such little stuff as EA wants them to. So here's what we do, guys. We got to get rid of the buyers. And I don't mean ban them. What I mean is we need to break their willingness to buy. And that's what my plan is based around. Since we can't stop the sellers from being willing to sell, let's make it so that nobody is willing to buy. Here's how that can be done. Because some people would say that's impossible. People are always going to want to buy coins, Mike. They'll want to, but they won't. And here's how, guys. So what EA needs to do is it needs to employ its own internal bot army and algorithms. So when someone posts one of these cards, like this Hunter Henry, or this Adam Thielen, or this Jawan James, which are very clear, if they're not coin buys, They're convenience transfers or mutthead trades, something like that. But they are not legitimate auctions. You know why? Because nobody is going to buy an 80 overall tight end, wide receiver, or offensive tackle for 2 million coins. No one would want that. It's so far above market rate that nobody would buy that legitimately. So here's what EA needs to do. And I know that you guys all want transparency, but in order for this to work, EA would have to have very limited transparency on exactly what their caps and numbers are. But here's how this would work, guys. When someone posts a card for a price that is far beyond what any reasonable person would set for, and for EA, what I would recommend is you use some kind of big data algorithm to look in and determine what is the actual fair market value for a card based on all of the sales that take place across all auction houses, and determine a value for what that card is really worth on aggregate. And then give some grace period and build in some inflation. So take whatever that number is for each card, which would obviously based on its rarity, its utility, and desirability. You take whatever that value is after like a week of transactions on that card, once you have a solid amount of data to build that on, and then you build in an invisible cap. You don't tell the players, you don't tell anybody. You just build it into your algorithms where you take a cap that is 3 times, or maybe even 4 times, the reasonable rate for a card, to allow that over the course of the year, or some kind of promo or something that might push it up a little bit, can give it some room to build for it to have a legitimate investment purpose, but not something where it's going to go to 10 times what it's worth, because there's no real inflation that happens that does that. The only time something like that happens is if you have a monopolizer who just buys up a bunch of things and forces it. But since they did kind of changes to the sets, I think that's less of a concern this year. So you've got this invisible cap, and here's what you do. When someone posts a card for something over this invisible cap that is 3 or 4 times market value, your algorithms need to eat the card, not necessarily eat it to rob the person of their card, but basically prevent that card from showing up in the auction house since it's over that price, so that no one can actually buy it. They list it, they think it's up for sale, and it's there. Now what you need your bots to do is when they post that card, so say this person posted this Hunter Henry for 1,784,965 coins on the bid and a 2 million buy it now, their card would be invisible. And what you need your bots to do is post an identical card, completely identical, the same card, the same bid price, the same buy price, and the same time. So build it in and automate it. If they post a card for too much, their card doesn't show, and EA's card does show. So they go to their coin site, they put in their information on their card, and the coin buyer doesn't see their card because they posted it above this invisible cap that nobody knows other than EA. They see EA's card. They buy that card thinking, okay, this is the order that came through. Here's what happens, guys. Instead of EA being able to eat the tax, they just ate the entire amount of the transaction from the coin seller, robbing the coin seller of all those illicit coins that they either hacked or botted or cheated into existence. The coin buyer doesn't get their coins. So they paid their coin seller. They did not get the delivery. What does that do? It does a couple of things. One, it prevents the buyer from getting their illegal coins. They didn't even get a chance to break the terms of service because breaking the terms of service is now impossible. So they don't get their coins. And guess what? They already paid their money because that's the way it works. They paid the coin seller. So now, instead of them getting mad at EA, they are mad at the coin seller. So what are they going to do? They're going to dispute it on PayPal or whatever mechanism they use to pay for it. But they have their fight between them and the coin seller. Hopefully, they get their money back because I don't want to see these coin sellers making money off of something that they shouldn't be allowed to do in the first place. But even if they don't get their money, what happens is they're sure as heck never going to use that coin seller again. So maybe they try a different one. And that's where this coinpocalypse method keeps kicking in. They do not get the option, guys, because anytime they try to post something for more than 3 or 4 times market value, their card disappears. If EA wants to be, extra mean or punishing for even attempting to buy coins, maybe you just eat their card altogether and they don't even get it back. In which case they just lose it. If EA wanted to be nice, maybe, they put it on a hidden timer or something like that and they give them their card back when it expires so that they at least don't lose a card. I don't know. But the big thing that you're going to do, guys, is you're going to take all of the coins instead of just the tax from the coin seller. So the coin seller loses coins, the buyer doesn't get their coins, and you have destroyed confidence in the system. When they realize that there is no feasible way for them to buy coins, because what ends up happening is their coins that they're purchasing are just going to an EA bot that is going to remove them from the economy altogether, they'll give up. They'll give up. If you just take away the mechanism that allows them to buy coins in the first place, they may try it, the persistent ones may try it on 2 or 3 different sites. And some of them may try to go down and say, oh boy, let me try and find this invisible cap. But by making it a smaller multiple, something like 3 or 4 times the market value of the card, they're basically going to be giving up a lot more. They're going to be basically giving up, if you use a 3 times multiplier, they're only going to get, 2/3 of what they would want because they're giving up the value plus the tax on top of it. And it would just make the ability to even transfer coins, even if they somehow manage to figure out these invisible caps, nearly impossible. That's how you guys got to do it, guys. You have to attack the demand side of the equation because there will always be someone willing to sell something that they have no business selling because they care about one thing: money. They are trying to make a profit. They don't care about how it hurts the game. They don't care that they're potentially getting their customers banned. They don't care about any of that. They are a business trying to make money, and they are doing it in a way that they should not be allowed. It is not their property. They don't own it. They are not allowed to sell it. It is against the terms of service, so they are cheating the system. I have no sympathy for coin sellers. I don't care if it's a big site selling coins. I don't care if it's a person selling coins. Zero sympathy. You guys do not have a right to do this, coin sellers, so stop. But I know there's nothing I can do to make you stop. So what we need to do is remove the mechanism that you use that allows people to buy it. I can promise you, if you do this and people simply cannot buy cards or cannot sell cards to get coins, and they get mad and they have to dispute their transactions with their credit card company or with PayPal or whatever mechanism they use to buy coins, they will, one, never use that coin seller again. And after they realize that it doesn't matter what coin seller they go to, they aren't going to be able to do this, they will give up. And thus, you have crushed demand. That is how you solve the problem. Now, here's what you need to do to prevent the mass exodus of people leaving the game over this. Because again, I thought the whole ban thing was a little rough, but you guys you guys know what you're doing. It's your company, it's your game. I would have preferred to see you guys do coin wipes and temporary bans for first-time offenders of coin buyers. I'm fine with the permanent bans on botters. Perfectly fine. Botting is not good. But that's what I would have liked to see. But if you're going to go with the bans, it definitely sends a harsh statement. I feel bad for some people who, maybe had used Mudhead credits and got banned over that, where they thought it was legal, where now we don't really know if it's legal. But yeah, that's what I would do, guys. Now, the reason that I am so adamantly, against coin selling altogether is a pure economic model. When these coin sellers either hack or bot coins into existence, it doesn't harm the whales. The whales who are buying thousands of dollars of Madden cash, they could care less. All it does is give them better competition because people buy stuff cheaper. So someone who spends maybe a couple $100 can keep up with someone like that because they buy coins instead. So it gives them competition. But who it hurts is the free-to-play guys. Because let's look at it this way. If nobody could buy coins from the beginning of the year, prices would be nowhere near as high as they are because these coin sellers have pumped billions of coins into the market that should not be there. So when there are more coins in existence, prices go up because someone who, if everybody was legitimate, let's say the average person would have maybe 1 million coins But since coin selling exists, maybe the average person has 10 million coins. Just think about it. If you had 10 million coins versus 1 million coins, wouldn't you be willing to pay more for a card that you want because you have 10 million coins? Well, when you look at that on aggregate and all of these coin sellers are just pumping these coins into the economy, people are willing to spend more on cards than they should. So the people who get hurt are not the Madden Cash buyers. They're not the coin buyers because they'll just keep buying coins to be able to deal with the inflation. But the free-to-play players are the ones who get absolutely clobbered and can no longer compete. So when people complain about pay to win, it's not the Madden Cash buyers who are making it pay to win. There's a few whales who, in a way, I guess they're paying a lot to win. But guess what? That's the reason the game exists, guys. EA wouldn't make the game if they couldn't sell Madden Cash and make money off of the game. They just wouldn't make a game. They'd say, all right, this game's not profitable. Let's scrap it and focus on another game. That's what would happen. But it's the coin buyers who are the real pay-to-win people because they're buying it cheap. They're buying it cheap, which means more people are going to do it. And it's a rampant problem. It was rampant last year, and it's even more rampant this year. So if you implement this step, that is why I call this coinpocalypse, the death once and for all of coin sellers. If you eliminate demand, they may be willing to sell, but nobody will be willing to buy. Why won't they be willing to buy? Because it'll be impossible for them to buy. And they'll just have to keep disputing it. So it's really a kick against the coin sellers, a big win for the free-to-play players, and then what EA should really do to capitalize on it is adjust their own pricing or pack odds. If they're not going to adjust their pricing to make Madden Cash more affordable, they need to make said Madden Cash deliver much more value. Where maybe you make it so that if you buy a Pro Pack with Madden Cash instead of with coins, if you're going to keep this, limit on it, give somebody a much better chance of pulling an elite. Give somebody a better chance of getting a double gold. Something. Make Madden Cash more valuable so that more people will want to buy Madden Cash, and combine that with effective means of stopping the demand for coins, and you will have a much better game. And here's what that does, guys. If we truly end coin selling, not just in Madden Mobile, but apply the same kind of technique of a controlled and regulated economy across all EA games like this, and you apply the same method to shut down coin sellers, you're going to have a more profitable company as a whole, especially if you add value to turn those people who may not be willing to spend $2,000 a year on Madden Cash, but might be willing to spend $200 a year on coins. If you can shut down their ability to buy those coins and make them want to spend that $200 on Madden Cash, you just made a ton more profit. And by doing this, guys, you're going to do a couple of other things as well. The developers will stop having to fight the innovation of these coin sellers and stop having to try to shut this stuff down and do what they love. Focus on making a good, enjoyable game that people love and people want to play. So the end result is it would shut down coin selling. It would make EA more profitable if they're smart about capitalizing and converting those coin buyers into Madden Cash buyers. And I would say equally important, it'll free up the developers' time and resources to making a better game. If you like this video, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. If you are new to my channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. My normal content is daily LVL drives where I'm narrating what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, with the goal of helping you become a better player. But occasionally I will do things like economic updates or just ideas that are fresh and original that nobody else is doing on YouTube that I think would be helpful to the community. If you want to see what I drop, when I drop it, hit that bell icon to join the notification squad. I love you guys. You are the best audience ever. I will see you tomorrow. CHF out.